Hey there, beautiful spirits being humans. Um, so I'm making a video today to share um, my most recent human spiritual adventures that I've been on the last few weeks. Um, I just got back late last night from a 2 week adventure. Um, First drove up to Reggae on the River in Humboldt County and partied for like 4 days. And right from there, drove what was only supposed to be 6 hours, but took us like 11 hours, 12 hours, um, to Oregon, where I did a Huachuma ceremony. So I'm in a 13-month mentorship where I am learning Huachuma medicine, which is from the San Pedro cactus. And we did our first ceremony back at the end of April and have been meeting with our tribe, our class online since then, every month, a couple times a month. So integrating that first ceremony, and this was our second one. Um, and whoa, was it a doozy for me? Um, it was beautiful and grounding and magical, revealing and illuminating, and I'm still processing a lot of it, and probably will be for many years to come as I am an active student of life. Um, but I did want to kind of come on today and just share a bit of insight, messages, realizations I've had thus far in this journey, because I'm sure they will resonate with at least one person out there, since we're all super connected and navigating a lot of the same energies through different experiences, right? We're all unique, even though I do believe we're from one single source. We all have our own energetic blueprints and different incarnations and just different paths, unique paths in this lifetime and all of the other ones that we are simultaneously in. And yeah, these last 2 weeks was just, I couldn't really put it into the right words. Because it's such an energetic process that like you just have to experience it for yourself and be present for to really understand what it is that I want to share. Um, but it was transformative for sure. Um, and these last couple of months, like leading into this ceremony, have been uncomfortable for me, very shifting. A lot of old patterns still coming to the surface and being revealed to me in ways that I wasn't even realize I was still operating from. And those have been challenging and uncomfortable to address. And it has created a lot of shifting and shaking within branches, um, which I will no longer call my business, but my passion, my medicine. Um, and yeah, just like more specifically, the last month leading up to this ceremony, I have had a lot of experiences that were kind of causing me to question myself, my path. Am I doing this right? And that by this, I mean, am I sharing my medicine in the way that's aligned for me? Um, am I running my business the right way? Just a lot of those narratives have come up to the surface for me really loud. And like I said, it created a lot of uncomfortable shifts and some uncomfortable conversations, but all divinely designed, literally all meant to happen exactly when it happens. And this retreat just further validated that for me, that I'm always right on time. Like, no matter what my human thinks in regards to progress and time and healing and where I should be and all that, my higher self always brings it full circle and reminds me that I am right where I'm meant to be. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't. And I'm right on time with everything that I'm learning about myself. Because that's really what this is about for me. It's about learning who I am underneath all of the systematic programming we've been underneath all of my shadow, my unconscious, subconscious patterns, programs, traumas, fears, limiting beliefs, insecurities, labels, roles, right? Like, to me, that is what I'm on this earth plane for in this lifetime, is to remember the essence of who I am while still getting to play different roles, try on different hats, um, play in different environments that I wouldn't have played in before. Like, truly embodying what it means to be human and just relishing in the experience of all of it, good, bad, and different. And this retreat really brought that home for me in many ways. Um, to just give you a little bit of a synopsis of what the last 2 weeks were. Like, I literally feel like, and I feel like this kind of on the reg because I'm always doing like this inner work and introspection where like there's some days I feel like I've lived hundreds of lifetimes just in that day. But in these last 2 weeks, I literally feel like I've lived thousands of lifetimes. And I can feel shifts within me. And like, I know I'm always shifting, evolving, growing, changing, but sometimes it's easy also to get stuck even in that, like even in the idea of that, if that makes sense. And so much of this retreat was about what it really means to be present, what it really means to slow down and tune in to not just me, but like every little thing around me. And that's what I did. So we left on August 11th to start our journey north. We started partying at Reggae on the River on the 13th, and then kind of closed that partying ceremony Monday morning, that following Monday morning, and literally just got in our van and drove 10 hours, 11 hours to our 1 week ceremony, which lasted the whole week and is still um, lasting for me right now, even though like we closed the container of it. The ceremony within me is very alive and very real. And I was tested a lot, right? Tested, and I don't even like to really use that word. I've talked about that, but I was challenged. I was given opportunities to grow and know myself even deeper. And I'm a deep person, but it was so wild because I feel like the messages that came through this time were like so simple. And oftentimes, like in the depths of everything or in the heights of all the cosmos, we lose the very simplicity of what this human existence is, of what physical reality is. It's like, and I know this from myself because I'm so deep and everything has meaning to me and everything has deeper meanings for me. And that's still the same, but some of those deeper meanings are just so simple, so simple. And it's just wild how our human minds can overcomplicate some of the most simplest messages, right? And so we drove to Oregon, started ceremony late Monday night, went to bed for about 3.5 hours, got up, and started the medicine journey at 4 a.m. that Tuesday. And I literally journeyed on the medicine for like 12 hours, 14, it was hard. Um, and it was intense. It was powerful, but yet it was also nurturing and calming. It was all of it. It was so multidimensional, so multifaceted. And the beautiful thing is that I remember everything that happened. As much as I was journeying and like really in the medicine, when I fully returned to my body, and even here I am like a week later, I remember everything that happened in that 14-hour day, which felt like the longest day ever. Because doing ceremony like first thing in the morning and like literally waking up with the sun and just doing the journey all day was so wild. It was so different from our first ceremony which we did through the nighttime. And so just so cool to experience um both ceremonies because they were both very different. But the irony of it is the first ceremony was much more lighter for me, even though it was through the nighttime and we're journeying all in the dark. Like it was a light ceremony for me. Huachuma didn't have me go like super, super deep yet. And now in this past one, when I was literally journeying all day in the sunshine, in the heat, I went so deep into um, my darkest shadows and traumas of this lifetime. And that's what like one of the core messages was for me after this retreat was this is the lifetime that matters right here, right now, right? Yes, I know I have past lives. Yes, I know I have future lives, but really they're all simultaneous lives because there is no space and time outside of this construct. So it's like I've journeyed to all of those other lifetimes. I'm sure there's many other that I will get to experience. But the message was what's important is literally right here, right now. Right here, right now. And that message came up so many times throughout the week in so many different ways that it allowed me to be so present, even while flying on grandfather medicine Huachuma, which is powerful. I was still so present with all of it and present with the connections I was making with my tribe in the ceremony and the deep spaces that they were able to hold for me, like I do for so many people, was literally everything I needed. And so Huachuma brought me, of course, to Colombia and brought me back to the first 14 months of my life again, which I have visited multiple times in regression hypnotherapy, in my own journeying, in the last 3 years, because it was reminded to me that I've been navigating this narrative of mine for 3 years of what happened to me in Colombia and essentially what was the foundation, we'll say, of like all of my human patterns in this lifetime, all of my fears, all of my insecurities, all of the wounds that I've been operating from for 41 years. And Huachuma brought me back there again. And I was like, at first, I'm like, I'm in it. I'm freezing cold because I'm like right back to being in a freezer again. And like, understand these are all things that happened to me in this lifetime because I was experimented on in Colombia. And I've shared other videos about this. But if you are not familiar with my story, I was part of the system for 14 months in Colombia, and my soul consented to being experimented on. And it was in many ways. And let's say the word once, but adrenochrome was something that was taken from me during the experiments because I had quite a few near-death experiences. And yeah, just a wild, wild agreement that my soul signed up for in this lifetime, but I have such a deep understanding for why. And so for me, there's no more question as to why that happened to me. I get it. And for the last 3 years that I've been navigating this truth of mine, my main focus was like forgiving the beings and the entities that did these things to me. Like that was what I was so focused on. Like, well, if I'm the love, I just have to forgive it and then I'll be free from this, right? And there was a lot of truth to that, 100%, 1000%. I've been working so deeply on forgiveness and then forgiving myself for all of the patterns and behaviors that I adopted from those traumatic experiences that then created a very scared little girl, a very timid, anxious teenager, a very shy, suppressed young adults. And it's like I've really had to sit with a lot of that many times to forgive myself and to have compassion for the human within me that is also a badass. Um, like I said, so much of my focus has been forgiving the beings, the entities, the energies, the people, the reptilians, the whatever you want to call all of them, the fear consciousnesses that did these things to me. And so when I was brought back to all of it again in ceremony, I'm like, why am I back here again? Like, haven't I forgiven it? And it was like, you have, but there's a missing piece still. You haven't reclaimed your power. You haven't taken back what they took from you. You haven't like used your voice to say, no, no more. You don't get to use my medicine for your fear-based agendas anymore. My medicine is here to heal. It's not here to harm or to perpetuate narratives that feed the darkness, that feed the fear, that feed the parasitic energies. And it was like, whoa, I haven't taken my power back, have I? Like, I thought the act of forgiving all of it was taking my power back. And in many ways it did. But the lesson was more about like really using my voice and no longer consenting to them, the system, to be able to have access to my life force anymore. And I was like, whoa, that's what I'm here to do. And it's like, yeah, because then once you do that, you'll be ready to go to Colombia. And it was just wild. The whole experience of it. Getting chills right now because I did. In that moment, I realized, no, you don't get to take any more from me. And then I was shown how this entire year, this year of 2026, or the first 8 months of it anyways, have ironically been me saying no. And I say ironically because at the end of 2025, moving into January of this year, I had set the intention for this is my yes year, right? Like where it talks about like just saying yes to everything. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna do that. Like I'm gonna say yes to everything. And I had some rude awakenings with that. Because while it's a beautiful intention to set, I recognize when I initially had said it and where that was coming from within me. And that's why I had some experiences this year where things I had initially said yes to, but energetically was like a no and didn't realize it till I was in the experience of it, right? It wasn't something I did consciously. It was something I had to live through to realize, like, whoa, I committed to this. I said yes to this. But yet energetically, there's a disconnect, there's a mismatch, I'm not fully yesing it. And my higher self's like, yeah, you had to actually go through this experience to realize that this is actually your year of no's. Like, no more. People don't get to take any more from you anymore from a wounded place on my end, right? And I'm like, wow. And that lesson, that experience, that opportunity has come up for me multiple times. In the place that I live here, I had to exercise the word no in being asked to serve different roles for things that didn't feel aligned with my energy or felt like it was the loving choice for me. I had to say no. And for the most part, because saying no is also like a fear for me, because I don't want to let people down. I don't want to disappoint people. I don't want to not meet their expectations, but I know that that is my insecurity. That's my ego. That's my human self still living from a place of fear because that's such a deep program in me of just so badly wanting to be accepted and loved by people that I've been a chronic people pleaser majority of my life. Um, and so that was like a huge theme that has come up for me this year about like, stop, let's just stop. Stop trying to please everyone. Stop trying to make everyone happy because you know you don't even have that power, right? Like I don't have the power to make anyone feel anything and vice versa. But it was still such a deep, like, feeling like letting people down or not fulfilling a commitment or a responsibility. And that is shown up also within branches. It has shown up in some of the most uncomfortable, unexpected ways this year, but the most revealing, necessary ways for me to really like still acknowledge that pattern and stop operating from it. And so when I was like full on in medicine last Tuesday and like saying no more to these energies, I was being shown all of the people from this lifetime that I have operated myself in a people pleasing manner. And it was like, I basically went like down this line of, I love you, but no. I love you, but no. I love you, but no, thank you. I love you, right? And it was like, whoa, this is so weird. But yet it's not. It's so dull. It was like I had a lot of duh aha moments because it was like you know this. Like you've already been practicing it the last 8 months. And that's why it's coming in so clear for you now. And so my higher self, as all our higher selves like to throw a curveball in, right? Because why not? Like that's what keeps this shit interesting. If we had all the answers to our own tests, like we wouldn't be here. Like what would even be the point of living this human existence, right? And I've always start to plug my computer. My whole life, like I've never been a knower. I've been a feeler. Um, I feel things, right? But I couldn't always maybe express to you what it is. And then when something reveals itself, it's like, that's what I was feeling. But as far as like a knowing, I don't know. I've not been that like, I just know stuff, right? And I was married to someone that just knew everything. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I mean that because that is what he would say all the time. And so that is also where I would give my power away to people that perceive to know everything. I'd be like, oh, they know it. So like, I don't have to know it. I'll just ask them. I'll just lean on them. And that created a lot of codependency in my life, right? And that pattern has revealed itself many a time in these last 8 years and again this year. And it's like, you're a feeler, Maria. You don't have to know. You are fine with the unknowing because you know that that's also what you signed up for here. But you're a feeler. So trust what you're feeling, even if you can't put into words or even put into a human logical concept of the knowing of what you're feeling. Just trust the feeling of it. And it's like, that's where I have sold myself short many times. I've perceived myself to not be as smart as other people because I don't really know anything. I just know I feel shit. Right? And I think that that is one of the stories that has been being unraveled for the last couple of months for me of truly surrendering to the unknown, but yet trusting my intuition to feel out every experience and to trust that the higher me and God, creator, source, will guide me in the direction that's meant for me. And as someone who's been a follower a good chunk of my life, that's big. That's huge. Like, that's huge to really embody that trust in self. And the only way that we embody that is to have it tested many times. At least for me, that's how it's been. It's like every time that trust within myself is challenged, it actually anchors me even deeper into trusting myself. If that makes sense. Um, so yeah, Huachuma, like, I always use the reference of the phoenix because it's a spirit animal that resonates very much with how I feel I live my life. I feel I'm a phoenix. And I did a session for someone a couple days, a little less than a week before we left for this 2-week trip. And she literally saw me as a phoenix on fire. And she didn't even know like that I had a tattoo of a phoenix on my arm. But like while I was doing the session at one point when I walked around her, she had her eyes open and she was literally like, dude, you were a phoenix on fire. And I was like, well, that's kind of how I feel like I live my life. So that's cool that others are seeing what I feel and I see and sense within myself. But literally, Wachuma, like I was reborn. I was reborn in that ceremony and in the most loving, compassionate ways because my birth in this lifetime was traumatic AF and then just thrown right into the system where I was tested and prodded and poked and experimented on. Like it was traumatic. 1000%. The abuse was traumatic. So I didn't come into this world feeling safe. And after this rebirth, after I was traveled back to, it was 14 months again and reclaimed my voice and reclaimed my power, and then was held by people in ceremony. And I literally felt like a baby. Like I literally felt like I was experiencing life for the first time. I remember sitting at one point during the ceremony in this grassy area when everybody around me was doing like water ceremony, and I was too traveling too much to like partake in that. But I was still very present and having my own experience. But my mentor, Nathan, who I have so much love and respect for and trust, and we got a lot closer in this last ceremony because of the space he was able to hold for me. But literally, I'm sitting across from him and we're eating like berries and clementines. And I literally was like putting them in my mouth. And I felt like a baby. And like, but I felt like this baby, like toddler, like giggling in the grass. And as I was like biting and eating the fruit, I was like, my God, this is like, I feel like this is the first time I'm ever tasting fruit. Like it was like being alive for the first time with that bright eyes and wonderment for this realm, this physical realm that many people call a prison planet. It was so the opposite for me. It was like, is this heaven? No, it's not, because I'm in a physical body. I'm having physical experiences. This is heaven on earth. I'm sitting in all this dirt, and like I got really one with nature these last 2 weeks too, which was really good for me. Um, because I'll be honest, I was raised kind of spoiled, right? And spoiled in the sense I've always had a nice house that I've lived in, and all of the things, right? I haven't had to, you know, I mean, I've worked hard in my life to have the things I have, yes. But as a child growing up, like my parents provided for me a very safe, loving home. And I always had stuff, right? And then I always had like such a strong work ethic, and I used to work multiple jobs at once. So I always had money, and I always like could buy my own stuff, and like I had all the comforts. And I love that. I appreciate that. It's part of what I want in this lifetime. I believe we're all deserving of it. But I've also like really enjoyed roughing it for a couple weeks and getting to like experience that, and getting out of comfort zones, and like being like unshowered for, well, that's not hard for me actually. That's one thing I'm like, oh my God, I've been training for this because I don't know. I don't take showers every day. Let's just put it that way. And yeah, so like that piece of it was fine, but it was also like I don't take showers every day now, but I still live in nice spaces that are clean. So I was like things are clean around me. Like I have a little bit of a clean thing. And so just living like outside and camping and like shitting in a bucket, shitting into the earth, like was just like, woo, there's something to this. I like this. And it was funny because when I started coming back into my body at the end of night one ceremony, like my van was just destroyed. Like there was just shit everywhere, dirt, like everything, right? Bugs, just food, like everything that normally I hate, like because I like to keep things tidy and clean. And I was just like, what? Like just present with all of it. But as soon as I started coming into my body, like I started getting wicked itchy, and I just felt like I was getting bitten by things. And I was like, all right, I need to go take a shower. So that night we got a hotel room, which is what I needed because after like the 4 days of partying, the 2 days of driving, the all day of journeying, it was like my body needs a good night's sleep tonight before we start our trek up to Mount Shasta and that whole adventure. And I need to clean my body because I'm so dirty. Like I've been rolling around in nettles, it was like literally like making love to the cactus. Like it was just like, whoa, I like just, yeah. So that night, and our mentor Nathan was very on board with that. He's like, yes, you guys go get a room tonight, like get a good night's sleep because we still have like 3.5, 4 days left of this, and you're gonna want to feel rested for that. And so it was like I gave myself that gift instead of being like, no, let me just keep roughing it. It was like, no, I'm uncomfortable as fuck now. And I've been uncomfortable for the last 5 days. So like Maria got it. Like she knows how to be uncomfortable, but she also wants to go clean herself right now and like start fresh for her Mount Shasta adventure. And that's what I did. And then we spent 3 nights camping right across from the mountain. Like it was such a beautiful spot, and connecting with the lands and doing microdoses and different medicines, and yeah, we hiked the mountain, spent a lot of time up there, into the lakes around. And the wild thing about all of it, right, is that I went to Mount Shasta with this, I don't want to say an expectation, but I guess to some degree my human had some expectation to what I was going to experience there, right? Because I've heard all the stories, and people that I've known that have gone to Mount Shasta and just, the energy that it holds and yada, 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 right? And all the connections to Lemuria and Atlantis and Telos and the Galactics and all of these amazing stories, right? So I'm like, probably gonna blast off when I get there because that's just, me when I'm tuned into energy. But the main message was, and it just kept being revealed in just simple interactions I would have with my tribe there and like animals and just nature and just really like really tuning into why am I here? Right. And it's like, well, you're here to do some portal work. Cool. You're going to close up some things or complete some things that Sam started a couple years ago when she came here. And I'm like, all right, cool. Like I figured that's why I'm here too. I taught my group how to shamanic journey and I had them journey to Telos, which was really cool. And everybody had um awesome experiences with that. And it was funny because when I was doing that, we were doing it in the portal spot, right? Where Telos supposedly can access it. And I start journeying, right? So normally I'll do like energy work for people, but I was guided to journey this time. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna journey with them too. Cool. And I'm like, where am I journeying to? And they're like, just right here. Like literally right here. You're literally just gonna open the gates for them to go into Telos and get whatever information their guides have for them there. But that's what you're here doing. Like you're right here, right now. That's all that matters, Maria. And I'm like, oh, right. And then the message of right here, right now. Oh my God, I'm realizing too. That song. Right here, right now. Right? It was like, yes, you're connected to all of that cosmic energy. Yes, you're connected to Atlantis and Lemuria. Like, yep. But what's important is what's happening right here, right now with these humans that are here with you. And I was like, oh, so this isn't going to be like a super galactic type of journey. This is going to be an earthly journey, literally. And my guides are like, exactly. Like, yes, like when we first got there, I saw some Lemurians in the like kind of just protecting the space that we were camping in. Like I saw them, I was like, hey, what's up? Saw dragons. But those are also like beings and energies that I see anywhere and everywhere. So I was just kind of like, well, that's cool. Cool to see you guys. Like, knew you'd be here. But they were so like just in this like observatory space. Like they weren't like telling me anything I didn't know. Does that make sense? Um, and I was like, wow, this is wild. So my experience is all about the physical reality here right now. Like the birds that are flying by us, the chipmunks, the squirrels, the dragonflies, the things that are alive right here, right now in this dimension, the humans that you're with are so enlightened without them trying to be enlightened. They're just so real. They were so real. Everybody in my tribe that we're doing this mentorship with, everybody's so real. And that's what I've been craving, right? Is just realness in people because I feel like that's what I bring to the table. It's like, yo, I don't have it all figured out. I am just and I don't mean just, but I am a limitless spirit, like doing the human thing. And I'm just figuring it out as I go along. And what I share with you is just shit that I'm figuring out, like sometimes in this now moment, right? Like, and the energies that every individual person in the mentorship embodies is just, it's medicine. Like, it was like, whoa, this is the medicine. Like, there's nothing to search for, there's nothing to try to connect with. I am connected to all of it. Like, and so the most like, biggest like epiphanies I had was like, hey, so like that cosmic enlightenment, the galactics, again, all beautiful energies, entities that we play this game with, but they're also still part of the game, right? Like they're a higher aspect of the game, but they're all still this game. And I'm like, all right, they you know, they embody maybe higher frequencies, but they're still not the source of it all. They're just guides. They're seeds, but they're also part of this dimensional reality. And so I was like, wow, we give so much, like, we even give so much power to them, right? And I've had this knowing for a while, like when it comes to connecting with our guides, like always thinking that these beings are all things outside of us and like they're so cool because they're so like space-like and just magical. And it's like, yeah, so are you. You're just in a human body. You're just in a denser frequency and dimension, but you're all of those things too. All of us are. We all are. And I was like, whoa. And it was like once I started releasing my own perspective of the power too that these places carry. And it's not to dishonor. This is not dishonoring what these energies are at all. It's actually just seeing the bigger picture of like, whoa, they're all just like part of it, like we are too. They also have their own, we'll say, programming. I was shown, like even the more enlightened beings, or galactic beings, like they also have their own set of programs because they are part of this dimensional construct that has programs. And so to not get led astray sometimes by thinking that that holds all the wisdom, because we hold all the wisdom, our bodies, this earth plane, the physicality of what has been created here is the reality of what has been created here. Whoa. And so it's like, it's all right here in front of you. Like, you don't have to journey off to like feel it and sense it. And whether that means journeying on medicine or activating your own inner medicine to journey, it's like the journey's right here, right now, Maria. Your conversations with everybody that you're having. Like, I learned more in just deeply connecting one-on-one with people in the group than anything an enlightened being could have shown me. But yet they were showing me that that's what they were showing me, right? It's like, whoa. Because it's all one, it's all one. But I've also seen how like a lot of spiritual communities, and again, like I had this expectation, this idea of what Mount Shasta was going to be, and that it was going to be super galactic and super like almost off planet. And it's like, no, like this is about you being on planet. That's why you're in this body, in this dimension, in this time space reality, because you actually want to be in this dimension. And this is also why I've been told, my first business coach told me that, I'm the most grounded spiritual person he's ever met. And that message continues to just get deeper for me. I'm like, oh my God, now I know what he means. Like, yes, I have the capacity to travel all over the place. And there's a part of me that is always kind of there, but like the bigger part of me is present right here, right now in this body. And that's why I had to revisit the trauma from this lifetime so I can move forward in this body in this lifetime with what this version of Maria wanted to experience in this physical reality. And that is, I know I'm going to Colombia, and it's going to be way sooner than I expected. It's probably going to be in a couple months because I do have an opportunity coming up the end of October into early November. And that kind of came out of nowhere, right? But it's getting chills right now. It's a deep readiness for it. to travel into the jungles and to meet the people that are embodying a lot of the same DNA that I have and the values. And I want to learn from them. I want to learn what the earth means to them and how they work with it in healing medicinal ways and ceremony and celebration. Because I have met so many people now since starting this mentorship that have deep connections to Colombia. And one of the girls in particular in my group studied there for a few years and has like tribal family there that she's going to do this ancestor work with in a couple months. And that's what I feel like I'm being called to go do as well with her and potentially another person from our group. Because when I was up on the mountain, I heard, because it was the day after I had my 14-hour deep dive, and it was like, hey, no more no more prioritizing other things over Colombia. Like it's time. It's time for you to return to your roots, to your lineage of this lifetime. And I'm like, all right. So in my head, I'm like, well, I'm going for my birthday. And I mentioned it to my boyfriend because he was there. And I was like, dude, I'm going to Colombia for my birthday. Like, you can come, you don't have to come, but I'm going for my birthday. He's like, oh, yeah, let's do it. And so, like, I had, like, already kind of intended that. And then it was like, this girl was like, hey, so I'm going to Colombia. I don't have the actual dates yet, but it's the end of October into early November because it's the part of the Chicana calendar where they're honoring like basically like the Day of the Dead type of thing and doing this week-long celebration ceremony for the ancestors. And I'm like, I think I am meant to be there with her. As I say it again, I get chills right now. So again, me just putting it out there, even out loud right now, is me setting that intention. So yeah, I guess I'm going to Colombia in a couple months. And that just, again, that came up so spontaneously, but it's also making everything else in my life make even more sense as to why certain things didn't pan out the way I anticipated, expected, planned. Because that's just how life is, right? Like, there's very little that I, at this point in my life, like to plan, pre-plan, because the universe has a funny way of rerouting those plans. And for me, I'm very flow, go with that. Like I trust when I'm being rerouted, there is a reason. And it's just becoming more and more clear to me why certain things have been shifted in this time space reality for me to open up these other opportunities that are necessary at this point in my journey for me to really remember why I'm here. And the people in my ceremony that held such deep, beautiful space for me, like they got channelings for me when I was like under the medicine. And one of the things that my close friend got channeled to her from the corn, literally, she went and laid in the field of corn and channeled this beautiful message, which was for all of us, but she came in at a point in my journey I needed it. And it was to remind me that I am the medicine and sharing is my gift. And I'm like, oh my God, I haven't been doing anything wrong. Because that's what I feel like. Like, and this is why owning a business that I offer energy, healing, spiritual work in almost feels contradictory to me sometimes, or feels like there's a stickiness in there of like owning my worth, knowing I'm worthy of what I bring into a session for people, and that I am worthy of receiving a balanced energy exchange from that, whether that comes in the form of actual money or some other form of abundance, right? I am worthy of that exchange because again, I am not going to just keep giving to people please, or to give from a wounded aspect of myself. It's like, I'm going to give to you, but I'm also open to receiving something of equal value. But I'm also okay if that's not money. And when you own a business, that can kind of go against what most entrepreneurs would teach, right? And I'm like, am I doing this all wrong? Like, am I not like fully in this? And it's like, of course I'm fully in it. Like, I am the medicine. I embody it every day. And just because I don't hmm, maybe market things the way that social media would tell me to, or a business coach would tell me to, it's like, I am the brand. I am it. Just in my essence of being is me being it everywhere that I go. And I've had to do a lot of check-ins with myself where I'm like, am I honoring like what I'm here to do? Or am I still like making myself small? And it's like, no, you're honoring it in the way that feels aligned for you. So this will never feel like work for you. And when I got that channeling at that moment during my tripping, journeying, it was like I just felt like weights come off of my shoulder. Like I was like, oh, sharing is my gift. And whether or not that means I share via a video like this, or I share a message with someone, or I share my space with someone, whatever it is, it's like, that's what I want to do. I just want to share. That's it. I just want to share, but from a place that I'm sharing um my oversupply, right? I'm no longer sharing or giving from a depleted bank, right? I'm sharing because it's just who I am and what I'm here to do, and however that flows out of me. And so I just feel like I've come back from this retreat really clear on who I am right now, who I'm continuing to become, or who I'm remembering I always have been. Um, but also clear on like, what do I want to do next? Like within branches, within a new passion I'm going to create. And it's wild because there's so many shifts happening right now within branches. Like literally our website is down because Sam and I are both creating new things. And I came back, I got back late last night. And today I'm like, I have like a ginormous to-do list of just things I have to do, right? I don't say I have to do, I'm excited to do. But I keep hearing this subtle, like, yes, hold the motivation, hold the focus, hold the vision, do what you're meant to do, but don't dive into hitting the ground running because that whole retreat was all about slowing down and presence. And this summer for me has been very chaotic, beautiful chaos that I intentionally signed up for, like a whole bunch of concerts and parties and celebration, which has been a lot for me. Especially someone that's as in tune to energy as I am. So this slowdown at the retreat was absolutely necessary. The reconnecting with nature and just like being able to not have service. So I was like disconnected from social media. I was like, whoa, this is empowering. Like I love getting on and sharing, but like I also love having no contact with the outside world right now. Like this is freedom, right? Not feeling like I gotta get on there and post something and it's like, nope, I have no service. Cool. Love it. Awesome. And it was like, don't lose this when you go home. Because those of us that do all of these kind of deep dives and retreats and spiritual work, the hardest part is like the integration when you get back into real life, right? Like it's easy to stay in that mode when you're in that mode with a whole bunch of people that are in that mode, right? It's like, oh yeah, cool. Like we're just in the present here and now right now. So this is easy. But I know once I go back into reality, right? And everybody's working their jobs and everybody's busy, busy, busy doing a gazillion things, like that's where it's most important for me to integrate what came through in this retreat. And it's like, you are a slow and steady person, but not because you are lazy. It's because you're intentional and you're conscientious about where you put your energy. And big messages were like, slow the fuck down right now. Because in that slowness, all of that clarity comes. And so the confusion I was feeling before the ceremony, because my mentor asked, like, we all had like, shares after ceremony. We did a lot of one-to-ones with him throughout the week, and just like, he's like, what are your biggest takeaways? How are you going to integrate this when you go home? And it's like, well, I have a full giant to-do list that I'm super excited about. But I'm also not putting any like time constraint on myself that this has to get done immediately, because I will only be operating from like a depleted energy source if I operate like that. It's like I want to feel whole and present when I'm doing whatever it is that I'm diving into next, right? Like I have a whole new website I have to create right now. And I'm super excited for it because I'm feeling more me than ever. But then there's also this part of me that's like, hey, Maria, slow and steady, conscientious, presence. Nothing has to be like done overnight. And just giving myself that permission to have this little bit of a breather before I start diving into all the things I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to add this into a session. And then my mentor asked me to come up with basically like a protocol for ceremony that ties in the medical world too, for people that might be having difficult journeys, and like when you discern if there's a medical need versus is this person just heavily on the psychoactive substance, right? And I'm like, fuck yeah, I can do that. I can do that because I ran Unison medical team last year. Oh, now I know why I did that, because I got to experience that world. And now I know why I just had a super challenging medicine journey for 14 hours, because now I'll know how to show up for someone that is having the same things happen to them, right? Like at a couple points, like my boyfriend thought I was seizing and I knew I wasn't. It was like my nervous system was resetting, but I would full body shakes, my eyes would roll back and like all this craziness. But like I knew I was safe and I knew nothing medically was happening to me that I needed medical support. But my mentor is like, I've been doing ceremony for 20 years with this medicine and I've never had like a medical emergency. It's like I've had tough journeys that I've had to help people like through and hold their feet or like stuff like that. He's like, but I wouldn't even really know what to do in a medical situation. Is that something like you could maybe help me? And I'm like, fuck yeah, I can. And so it's like I have all these things right now that I'm like, I'm so excited to like, ooh, I can't wait to do that. I can't wait to create my new website. I can't wait to create my new LLC. I can't wait to start like sharing my passion in a different way. I can't wait to start working with Huachuma deeper. I can't wait to grow cactus with my boyfriend, who is so excited about like he has like fucking 400 cactus right now taking up his house, and it's like so beautiful to just see him immersed and excited about the cacti life. And like we're still coming at it from different angles, but yet this last ceremony just brought us so much closer, and like we're really meeting in the middle, and it's just fucking powerful and beautiful. And now like our mentor wants to run like a ceremony with both of us, and I'm like, oh yeah, like yeah. So there's so many things that I'm like so excited to like dive into. But I also have to remind myself, because I know when I leave things like this, I'm on that high. And this is what happened to me the end of last year after I left Fempire and was like, I'm saying yes to everything next year. And it was like, yes, you are, but then you're going to learn what your no's are in those yeses. It's like, oh, yeah, okay. And so I'm aware that that happens after these like super empowering experiences. You're on like a high, right? And so you're like, yeah. But if anything, this retreat taught me, be on your high, be in your body, and be present with every now moment that comes up in this human experience, in the day to day, in the mundane, right? and the things that we call mundane, because there is no mundane. There is no mundane. When you are so deeply connected to everything, it's like everything can make you in awe. It's like, whoa, this is a crazy, physical, awesome dimension we live in. And yet so many of us are so focused on either not ever coming back to this prison planet or like zooming out, like zapping out of here. And it's like, oh, there's so much wisdom right here in Mother Earth, right here in our bodies, right here in just our beingness without even trying, without even trying. And that's such a freeing thing for me because I'm someone who has like tried so hard my whole life. Everything I've done, it just felt like it was so hard. I had to try so hard. And it's like, stop trying, just be. Literally just be. And literally just being doesn't mean that you're just like that you're lazy. When you're being, you can actually be really busy. Or you can be really still. And yet both experiences are just as valuable and valid and real. So grandfather Huachuma has taught me to slow down. He teaches everyone to listen from here. And he's taught me that it's okay to say no. Because in your nose, you find out what yeses are meant for you. And I'm a medicine woman. And my medicine has so many facets to it. And I'm going to keep learning more about it. But I am so excited and curious to deep dive into my physical DNA, my lineage in Colombia. I finally feel proud again to be Colombian. I went through some shame these last few years. And that was hard because my whole life I've always been like proud of where I came from. And I lost that these last couple of years. And now I'm like, yeah, I'm a jungle woman. I'm meant to be in the plants, in the earth, like I'm meant to get dirty. Um, I'm meant to like be one with the bugs. And my whole life, oh my God, talk about bug phobia. Yikes. Like big time, big time bug phobia. And the last couple watching the ceremonies have helped me navigate that because of just the environment of where we do ceremony and how we do it. And cacti love to house spiders and all sorts of critters. And so interesting. I've never cared for spiders too much. But the last like 8 years of me becoming more conscious, I've definitely um stopped like killing bugs a lot. You know, every once in a while it has to happen. But for the most part, I try to live and let live. And if they're in my space, try to exit them out in a nice way. But bugs have always just like creeped me out, and spiders always creeped me out. And when we were at Mount Shasta, my friend Erin had brought different decks of cards, and she had a deck of like spirit animal cards. And I was like, all right, I'm going to ask the cards, which spirit animal am I most embodying at this now moment in my life, and which one is my ally? And the card I pulled that I'm embodying most is spider. And I was like, whoa, that is wild. Because the first watching the ceremony, Nathan was like, um, sorry, I just answer that. Uh, my mentor saw me as like as a spider, like weaving webs of protection. Ironic too, because protection has been it's been a theme for me, but I've decided I'll make a different video on that. Um, because I have a lot to share about around the energy of protection. But spiders are a form of protection and they love our San Pedro cactus, like whoa. And I've had to get used to them being in my spaces. And when we were driving home just 2 days ago from the retreat, my boyfriend and I brought a couple new cacti baby that he bought out onto the beach with us because we're like, ooh, let's bring some of our babies out to the ocean. They'll like that. And so we did, and there was a little jumping spider on one of them. And we were like playing with it. And I was like talking to it, looking at it, and it's like interacting with me. And I'm like, oh my God, people have you guys as pets. Now I get it. Like you are cute. You're so intelligent. And you literally are protecting the cactus, and the cactus are protecting you. They're your own. And so I'm like, oh my God, I love spiders. I love all of these bugs now. And just having that like shift in my whole perspective and awareness and connection with Mother Earth again, I'm like, whoa, all these things that I was so afraid of were like aspects of me, especially that spider energy, right? Protector. And the card just talked about how like I am a protector energy. I protect spaces that I go into without even trying to protect them. So that's why I am the energy of protection. And I'm like, wow, that is so ironic because my whole life I've had all of these other energies, outside energies that were my protectors, right down to having parents that were very overprotective. Thank you guys for that when I was a kid. But yeah, I was being protected, so protected by everyone and everything. Like I was talking to my best friend today, Allison, and she mentioned she used the word underestimate. And I was like, dude, literally, as you were saying that word, that's the word I heard in my head. She's like, because people have always underestimated you your whole life. And she was one of my former protectors. Um, but we broke that cycle years ago when she was in my space and like came in and like went to try to take over something I was doing. And I was like, it was like that. It was one of those moments of like, no, I don't need your help. Please let me do it. I'll ask you if I need help. And in that moment, like that shifted that part of our relationship almost immediately. We talked about that today because I was talking all about the protection energy and like how that was a big theme this week too. And that I am a protector, but I don't try to protect. I don't try to control or shift people's anything. It's like I'm just my energy is a form of protection because people trust me and feel safe with me. And so I'm like, wow, I like that kind of protection. Like I don't really have to do much, but just be me. Right. And it was just cool to see then the spider come through and already feeling connected to the spider the day that I was in ceremony and just like, I love all you bugs. I love everything. And yeah, just wild, all of it. So it's been quite a journey these last 2 weeks. And there will be definitely way more to share. But this is where I'm going to start. And yeah, we'll see what flows from here. But I do intend to make a little video on protection later this week, especially because one of the girls on our trip, actually the one who had the cards, who had then pulled it like 4 hours later, after she asked me, we were literally walking up the mountain, and she's like, hey, I'm being guided to ask you about like protection. And I was like, well, like, what about it? And she's like, I don't know. That's just how I've like, just tell me everything you can about protection. And it was just like, just sort of like flowing out of me. And then 4 hours later, I'm sitting with her, going through her cards, and I picked the spider, protection. And I'm like, wow, it's wild. Love alignment, love synchronicity, love when we pay attention to the universe, to our higher self, to God, to Mother Earth, to everything, the more you pay attention, the more everything really does actually make sense. And maybe that makes me crazy because some of the craziest things make sense to me. So I'm paying attention and listening, always listening, listening into the most subtle of voices, the most subtle of cues. It's like I'm listening, I'm ready to receive. And so, yeah, Huachuma, highly recommend him. He's a very, very wise grandfather, and he's gentle. I had a deep dive because that is what I intended. That is what I set my intention for. And I am a powerful manifester. And when my intentions are rooted in my heart, that's what's going to happen. And the night before, I set the intention to go deep within my roots, however Wachuma wanted that to be. I trusted. And it was like, yep. And that's the journey I got. But he is a very gentle medicine. Um, that's why I feel like I'm able to remember everything. Like I wasn't so disassociated that then I came back and was like, I don't remember anything. It's like I literally remember everything that happened. Everything. And what a gift. Because I feel like that's a downfall a lot of times when people use psychedelics is that they blast off and they have these like super amazing intergalactic supernatural experiences and then they come back and they're like, I have it all figured out, but I don't remember anything. It's like, what the fuck? Right? I remember all of it and it was just such simple guidance, simple messages, but yet so profound. So right here, right now, it's all that matters. See you soon. Okay.